Hey, just taking a break.
Hi everyone, this is Wadidja. This is what did you say, what did you do, what did you think? Bringing you all another commentary video here about my gaming experience with Marvel's Spider-Man, Insomniac games. Super awesome. I have to say, you know, I mean, not everything's perfect, but whatever's could be critiqued isn't worth the point at the moment in regard to the commentary for this video, which is regarding you know, my leveling experience with the superior level that your Spider-Man character can receive. Let me clear this for a second. And that happens when you reach level 50, as you can see in the upper right hand corner. And you know, you start out with 100 health and start at level 1. Excuse me. And by the time you get to level 50, you should have 200 health, which seems to give you you know, 100 extra health than you started, and I believe 100% extra melee damage than what you start out with. And then after that, you know, once you reach that maximum level, you can go ahead and continue to level at 25,000 points. As you can see in the far right hand corner, I have 21,125 points out of 25,000 for my next level. Unfortunately, you can't see the actual level of that you have beyond, you know, for your superior level anyway, which is stated in your health, or that you will see, and that also too translates to your, I believe, your melee as well. There's no other indicator for that. I'll go ahead and start this mission here real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, in the upper left hand corner, you'll notice when this starts here, you'll see my health at 300, which states that, you know, I put in the time and effort. And you see it upper right hand corner, 300 health there. But yeah, you can see that I put in the time and effort to gain that health with leveling 25,000 points each time for 100 times. But yeah, so you get +1 health for each superior level and +1% melee damage. And the health, you know, it's really a literal 1 to your health as far as the amount of health you have, not necessarily your durability or you know, your so to say the meatiness or of your health. In other words, damage will still, you know, you'll still mediate damage the same with your health. So, you know, a melee hit or a rocket blast or whatever, or gunshot will still do the same amount of damage, just that you'll have a higher health pool to pull from. And as far as your melee is concerned, that, you know, again, is just seems to be a flat 1% that's added. And with that flat 1%, that's added, you seem to need that 100% in order to really feel that significant difference. I mean, you'll feel a little bit of a difference at around 50%, you know, or 250 or 50 levels of superior level gained. But yeah, you can take a look at some of this dialogue in the background while I'm jibber jabbering too. But you know, the thing is that, you know, to make the grind you know, feasible, you know, you really want to go ahead and use this mission here. It's not really displaying that a minute. Let me back out real quick. But yeah, you want to go ahead and use this mission here in Greenwich. It's the Fisk Hideout. What's interesting about it, and I'll start it again so you can see the point. It's a side mission, is the way you'll see it on your map. But when you're playing through the main story, it's queued as part of the main story. So therefore, when you go to play this side mission, it's the only mission in the game like this. You're able to accumulate the 2,500 points that you get for completing the mission normally. I wish there were other missions in here of any kind that were repeatable like that for that kind of XP. The only thing you seem to get from everything else is just XP from defeating the enemies. But with this, you get the XP from defeating the enemies as well as the mission XP. So you see the upper right hand corner, the watermark, it says Fisk Hideout. I can hit you can hit your Spidey Sense R3 and just show up again. But you'll see that it says main up there. So you know, even though it's a side mission technically, it's also to a main mission. Let's see here. But yeah, it's the grind to me was worth it. You know, because of the way I like to play, or would like to play my Spider-Man. And it kind of probably stems from me as a kid. I'm in my 40s, by the way, but when I was like younger than 9, between 6 and 9, I had a Halloween costume. I was Super Spider-Man, believe it or not. It's just complete with a cape. From what I understand, I didn't want to take it off, unless it was needed to be washed or it was necessary to wear something else. So it is kind of like living out a childhood dreams really through the game. By leveling up the superior Spider-Man aspect of extra health and melee to be even stronger and withstand more if anything happens to you. But yeah, looking forward to the ultimate level that's coming out, and I think it's going to be quite necessary. I'm going to start this mission here and point out something that's interesting about this is that the dialogue has been actually fairly refreshing. It's kind of helped keep the grind for this singular location worthwhile. But yeah, let me let you listen to and read the subtitles.
It ain't over till it's over.
Oh, I know, but I remember when he was a punk kid and the boss used to hand him his ass on the regular.
I thought the boss killed him that one time.
Maybe he did. Lenny says there's more than one Spider-Man.
Bite your tongue. That's all we need, an army of Spider-Men.
Yeah, the dialogue is a trip.
So let me give you rule number 1. You do not want to be late with a shipment. Ever. Boss runs a tight ship. He does not like screw-ups. We had this guy once. He decided to stop off for a drink on the way to a delivery. That was his last delivery, you know what I mean? We get paid well because we deliver. Every time, on time. Got it?
But yeah, the first part of the dialogue is absolutely hilarious and embarrassing, you know, for Spider-Man being a superhero, how they talk about Fisk handing him his ass. But it brings me to an important part that, you know, in the beginning of the game, you know, your first boss fight is against Fisk. And, you know, I played this game on spectacular difficulty, you know, all the way through. And, you know, it's a bit challenging starting out with 100 health, and I have a feeling that, you know, with the new game plus that's coming out and the you know, the higher level difficulty of Ultimate, I for me, in the way that I like to play, will probably, you know, need this superior level health and melee. Matter of fact, I almost feel like I'll probably need another 100 because currently, you know, I'll give you some gameplay as well. You know, the melee damage that you're doing at 100 extra percent, of course, it's more effective. And, you know, if you're surrounded by enemies, me personally, I don't want to have to hit enemies 4 or 5, you know, 6 times just to take them out. And, you know, with 100% extra melee damage, it seems to give me.
I should have called first. Spider-Man finally won.
Let's see, probably about 2 less hits, I guess you could say, per enemy. And so, you know, instead of 5 to 7 hits or something like that, it's going to take maybe about 3 or 4 hits or something. But, you know, to me, I still, as you can see, I still feel like I'm still duking it out more than I would care to, in regard to, you know, how long I'd like to spend fighting the enemies. But, you know, because I'm jibber-jabbering and trying to fight at the same time, I'm probably going to take some damage and You know, heck, even normally I might get hit here and there. But the point is, you'll be able to see that, you know, comparably to another Spider-Man that's, you know, doesn't have, say, 300 health, you're still going to lose the same amount of damage. But that's helpful in the way that, you know, when you heal using your focus, you know, you're going to still heal for the same amount and still be able to recover any damage equally as you always have, you know, before you can get into this point. But yeah, and so, you know, when it comes to this upcoming Ultimate mode, it's going to be pretty funky to start out with, especially dealing with Fisk, because all his goons are like brutes, or as they kind of considered in the game, and you know, just starting out with 100 health. Now, grant you, if you're doing a new game plus, you know, if you don't level past your max, your standard max level, you know, you'll start the new game plus ultimate level. If you do that with your 200, I would like to hope. They haven't confirmed a lot of these things, but that tends to be the standard with games as far as transferring information. I mean, God forbid that they don't allow you to transfer your health in melee that you get to acquire, because that's one of the singular benefits that you get to have, you know, after you level up and complete the story, you know, is becoming, you know, the superior Spider-Man. It seems like they do take that theme from the comic, the you know, Superior Spider-Man comic with Doc Ock took Spider-Man's place and well, stole his body, really. Either who, I think it's pretty cool the way they sort of incorporate a lot of the Ultimate and you know, Superior Spider-Man elements into the game, as well as some of the other titles and classics. I mean, you know, the difficulties are set up very much like the titles in the comics, but, you know, friendly, amazing, spectacular, and then soon to come out the Ultimate. But yeah, this Ultimate level, when it comes to Fisk, he's in his goons, at least to start out with, they hit like a truck on Spectacular, you know, and I'm sure they're just gonna be even worse. And Fisk himself hits like a freight train. I mean, you know, 4 hits on Spectacular at 100 health will kill you from any one of his dudes, if not less. And you know, they're trying to shoot you too, and everything else. So, you know, I knew just starting out, even though I made it through it, and you know, when I broadcasted my recording of my gameplay, I practiced that particular segment so I could get through it with some dignity and, without dying, and you know, did well for the recording. But you know, I'm looking forward to probably having, you know, 400 health, 400 extra melee to feel like I'm doing something against the enemies adequately. But that's just me and the way that I like to play, because here's the thing though, you can play it however you want, because, you know, when it comes to things that actually take the enemy out, like say your gadgets or your finisher moves, like for example that stealth move, and you know, when you use focus abilities to take down enemies, that's going to always remain constant. And the fact that, you know, no matter how superior you become or whatever, those things will be one-hit takedowns, you know, or however many hits the scenario, you know, goes through. So, you know, it's not, you know, necessary, but again, it has a lot to do with me, and why I've gone this route is because my preferred method of fighting is, you know, a little bit more old school fighting, you know, where he's not really relying on the gadgets, maybe a little gadget or two if necessary, but, you know, me, I like using, you know, his acrobatic, and
looks like they called their buddies.
You know, his spidey sensibilities to anticipate danger, as well as the, you know, dexterity of his melee combat is just mad cool. I love the way that they brought it all, you know, into the game. you know, the targeting system, everything is very fluent, very easy to pick up, and as well as there's room to really grow with the combat, with the subtle points of finesse. Like, for example, here's the movement list. It's fairly extensive, but yet simple. So, you know, there are a lot of various different things you can do, a lot of different things you can mix together with just, you know, a press of a button here or there in the midst of, you know, your square button press combo. You know, you can, but either way, though, you know, like I said, my preference is more of a melee-centric, you know, finisher, web-based type of attacks. Partially because, you know, I like being, you know, the thing that's really doing, you know, all the work, so to speak. You know, no tools necessary. It's all me, or all my character, Spider-Man, whatever. But, you know, for this grinding exercise here, by using these gadgets and what have you, even with what I would consider my preferred method of fighting, I can speed up the mission by at least 30 seconds or more, depending on how things may decide to go. Simply because these little gadgets do a lot of the work for you by, you know, stunning, taking out the enemies, or, you know, wearing them down. And yeah, so I just jibber jabber, and you know, you can complete it very easily, very quickly.
Place is locked down.
You know, speaking of that time, though, while I'm mentioning it, this method,
so I've got officers inbound.
roughly under 2 minutes, really, you can get through this situation. You know, once you understand what's going on with the board and everything. Throughout the entire game, enemies will spawn regardless of the situation, based on your location. So, you know, if you're in one end, if it's something with a missile launcher or a gun, it's going to be at the other end, waiting to shoot you, or blow you up. So, you know, your greatest threats are going to be on the other side as enemies spawn, adjacent to wherever you are. But, you know, like I said, so with me, you know, enjoying more of a melee-centric type of a situation, you know, and just, you know, using your web shooters, and to me, this here seems to work like this gadget. Your web shooter upgrade, when it upgrades to an impact, still fits my theme of just using web-based and melee stuff. That's sort of more natural about them. Like, for example, I really enjoyed the concept when they came out with, you know, like the 2099 version and the other previous Spider-Man, you know, movie stuff, where Spider-Man had webbing clans. It was like all natural versus gadgets. Again, I'm more of a naturalist versus, you know, bringing gadgets and good equipment into the situation. But still enjoy it, you know, without a doubt. Can't knock the situation at all. It's really cool how you can diversify your situation in the games.
Back up.
You know, with the gadgets, and you know, which brings about a huge aspect of diversity for whomever likes to play the game, however they like to play it, and whichever incarnation of Spider-Man they'd like to, you know, enjoy, whether it's one they create or one from the comics or movies. You know, but again, you know, with me enjoying the melee aspect and this ultimate level coming up, and the fact that it's still taking me several hits, more so than, say, 2 or 3 to take down an enemy, like, see, all that was just too much. I'd rather be like 1, 2, 3 done, or 1, 2, and that wasn't too bad because I was able to hit the enemy from the back, and when you hit the enemies from the back, you force do more melee damage, as well as, you know, using throwables. And, you know, this game seems to process too, you know, velocity and distance, like these types of attack where you launch yourself in the air or you use, you know, excessive force, seem to translate to more damage as well. So, you know, to me, there's a whole lot of kitty that you can employ to do what, you know, whatever. But yeah, definitely when it comes to this ultimate, I want to be beefy so that, you know, if I get hit, it's not like I'm almost half dead. Because I kid you not, you know, the enemies are, you know, are truly trying to kill Spider-Man. I mean, they aren't even trying to mess around with the point.
Hey, more guys.
They're trying to knock his head clean off his shoulders, cave his chest in
Unless you're not wearing socks,
through his
okay?
back. I mean, it's just, it's crazy. And, you know, Spider-Man, you know, given the nature of the character, is constantly pulling his punches. And to me, the way I sort of translated the way, oh, and by the way, you want to be careful here. I'm going to slow down time. If you take out enemies in this elevator right here, they can tend to get trapped in the elevator and wind up going back downstairs or something. I don't know. Sometimes there's a glitch where you'll see enemies on the side of this, inside of this thing. And if you do, you can just go ahead and hit reload last checkpoint, and you'll be able to, you know, just pick back up where you at the beginning of the wave. No big deal. But, you know, again here, the having, you know, your combat up, to me, just makes things much more efficient in the manner that you're doing things. And again, it's like, I like projecting some degree of surrealism to the situation, where it's like, if you're surrounded by 20, 30 enemies, it's like, do you really want to be hitting them 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times? Like, forget it. So
Place is locked down,
I'm
Captain.
enjoying the extra melee
Actually,
damage
web
at
down.
this spectacularly difficulty
And someone
level.
finally reported shots
Again,
fired, so I've got officers inbound.
I think
Good
that I
work.
might enjoy an extra 100 more for the ultimate, just by the way and nature of my preferred method of gameplay. But, you know, for the sake of efficiency and getting through it quickly, because like I said, my preferred method adds about another 30 seconds or so to it. And seeing I've been talking it up, I'll show you what I'm talking about. But yeah, so like with this here, this preferred method here, you know, there's two ways you can go about this one here. Personally, I like the Spider Bro, you know, because it, like I said, you're multitasking, you know, by using this here, and it's extremely effective. You know, the little robot. And as far as the gadget, the spider drone is again a multitasking situation, and you can deploy as many as you continue to get, as long as they haven't expired their time to deploy them, you know, to be deployed. Nevertheless, though, it's helpful to go ahead and have the kinetic power cells in with that, as well as BattleTech, in my opinion, because you know you like an efficient process to go through is to, like, every 2 finishers, you know, launch a gadget, and you know, matter of fact, here before I switch over, I'll show you what I'm talking about, just in case anybody hasn't seen my previous videos or explanations on that. But yeah, so you want to time your situation where, after, you know, if you have your skill tree and you're dealing with this situation leveled up, where you can, let's see, where is it at? It's one of these here. Yeah, well, number one, this one here, no, that's the error. Where is it? Nonetheless, though, let me explain while I'm searching around here. But yeah, so you can launch yourself by holding triangle. Yeah, here it is. So like your perfect dodges build finishers, your finisher takedowns build finishers, melee attacks build finishers, gadget attacks build finishers. Any attack action will generate your focus so that you can build finishers. Now your mods and what have you can increase that rate depending on what you use. But again, you know, to make this effective, you want to, you know, there's a skill tree thing that you can get a point for, which will allow you to do 2 finishers. And after the second finisher, you want to go ahead and deploy you know, as many drones you like. To me, it's like, you know, just go ahead and deploy them all, and then go straight into your finishers if you have this particular build set up where, you know, you're going to gain more finishing, more focus with your gadget use. Now, if you're just starting out in the game and you want to use this for XP, which I'd highly recommend because of the amount that you gain so quickly, you'll have a single finisher if you haven't leveled up that skill tree, and potentially not this gadget. But either way, though, you know, you want to time your, say, your web attacks or throwing various different objects along with, you know, finisher attacks if you've built up the focus for it. But yeah, and like I said, I'm talking and playing at the same time, so I'm not really giving you the best example here for this situation, but I think you get the point. So here I'm doing a finisher, and as you can see in the right hand corner is generating gadgets. Second finisher, you know, your upper right hand corner will display your gadget thing, but if you're in the moment and you're more center focused on the screen, you know, if you hold the L1 down, you slow down time as well as dispose your gadget wheel to know what your inventory is, and, you know, and if you might need to switch or whatever. So, you know, like I said, that's the preferred method for, you know, kind of executing things with this build like this and gaining focus the entire time, using finishers to kill the enemies quickly, as well as, you know, recover your gadgets with focus. I always leave my third slot for my XP bonus because it does add up over time. Like if you wanted to put in something else here, you could, but you'd be reducing your enemy count XP, not your mission count XP. That stays still constant at 2,500 each time you finish it, but your enemy XP will be reduced by a couple of hundred points. Either way, again, with a consistent, you know, steady grind, every point to me adds up. But yeah, so, you know, it's feasible and manageable with whatever time you might be able to offer the situation, especially seeing that, you know, regardless almost of your method, you're going to get through it probably with some you know, focus here, effort, about 5 minutes or so. And again, if you put in some time to gain skill with the situation, unlike what you just saw there, you know, you can get through it in about 5 minutes. I mean, excuse me, 2 minutes to 3 minutes or whatever, depending on your tactics. But yeah, I'm not even paying attention. And another thing too, as far as your suit power ability, I tend to find that releasing your suit power ability, regardless of whichever one you're using, is best at the beginning of wave 6. Sometimes maybe the beginning of wave 5. A few suit powers do build fairly quickly, so you know, you might be able to deploy it when the match, you know, the mission starts, and then do it again at around wave 5 or somewhere in the wave 6, and be just fine. But yeah, and I'll show you the second option for this sort of, say, quote-unquote,
place is locked down,
most
Captain.
efficient method
Actually, web down.
And someone finally reported
grinding
shots
this
fired,
out,
so I've got
at least in
officers
my
inbound.
opinion. Now, you've got a
Good
few
work.
people out there that boast of web blossom stuff and this, that, and the other, but I again, it's not really been my bag because, you know, again, I'm sort of more of a, well, you know, want to do it all myself type of a thing, but still, they're going to be nerfing the web blossom, so I'm sure it's going to be still effective, but, you know, it's a matter of how much. And again, I feel like you get through this far more quickly with diversifying your situation, multitasking with the drones. But another one which is kind of fun to do and still fairly viable, where you're getting through it, you know, in about 2 minutes, is to use the battle focus instead of the spider drone if you want a little bit more hands-on approach, while still multitasking with the use of drones. Still, you want to keep your kinetic power cells there as such, and because you're using the the little spider drones here, keeping this particular mod, suit mod on is beneficial. This let's see, wait a minute. Yeah, it's called BattleTech. Gadget attacks generate focus. But yeah, so I'll show you this real quick too. It's a similar situation. You're just gonna run through, take out the stealth dudes. Dudes first real quick with some quick little stealth zips. And that zip thing improves as you level up, in your skill tree as far as how the distance you have for it. But I'll be honest with you, it's still adequate when you first start out. The other thing too is after I take out the dudes, I immediately go ahead and start releasing drones before going into the finishers to recruit the drones. And by using the way map and also pressing in the R3 button with your Spidey sense, it's good to be able to detect the enemies where they're coming from and realize that as they spawn, the enemies furthest away in the back is going to be somebody with a missile launcher, somebody with a gun trying to shoot you. So you want to make your way, in my opinion, there sooner than later.
Let's see what I can do to cut down the supply.
And this particular one gives some very nice cues with the dialogue as far as letting you know when each wave basically starts, or you can again hit your Spidey sense with R3, and you can go ahead and pull up your information as far as which wave you're in and everything else. But yeah, so again here, it's like every 2 finishers, you want to go ahead and deploy your drones. And even still with this situation here, I'm saving my battle focus until the beginning of wave 6.
Anyone want to surrender?
And I like to go ahead and kind of deploy it in the center so that it has a 360 dispersal rate for its attacks, and it has plenty of good access and line of sight to the enemies for its attacks, as well as releasing drones. I release my whole kitty of drones generally to go ahead and oh shoot, I forgot I switched the battle focus. My bad. Yes, that is true for the spider. Bro, you want to release that near the center of the map. But the battle focus, activate that at the beginning of wave 6 and just go to town on the enemies and release drones. And as you can see, you'll be through it very quickly. So that's another way you can go about that fairly quickly, because you're still using the drones to diversify your manner of attack. But swinging us back around to my initial point about the combat and my preferred method, and the reason why I'm pushed to get to 300 and most likely probably pushed to get to 400 for the ultimate level, is because like I said, I like to be more of a hands-on kind of situation, take them out quickly. I love the finisher cinematic, so yeah, I stick with the battle focus here for that. I stick with the kinetic power cells to generate focus faster, but then I go ahead and switch over to the web striker to build focus 2 times as more efficiently or quickly with any type of web-based attack. And of course that includes your web shooter, and what I like to use is the impact web, because it's kind of more similar to the old school, excuse me, belch here, simplistic tactics that Spider-Man used to use before more of the spectacular era of things. Superior era of things, where afterwards where Parker got the benefit from Doc Ock's handiwork in a lot of ways. But if you want to go with a deployable, that's not a bad one either too. This web bomb does generate focus 2 times faster. But again, for me to just kind of stick with a naturalist kind of look, which to me works well with like things like if you want to role play with the Spider-Man 2009 outfit, or you know, the Spirit Spider outfit, or the Noir suit. You know, all those were versions where Spider-Man had glands of some sort which secreted webbing. You know, it's kind of cool to go with. But you know, when I do this particular setup, you know, everything starts out the same, where you know you want to go through and stealth take out your enemies. You know, but you're just, you know, you're just gonna be scrapping. I mean, which is a lot of fun. You know, I love what they've done with this game in regard to the combat. But you have to take these guys out and use the impact web on them. Switch over to my web shooters here, and as you see, I've already got 3 bars of focus. Take out the guy on the side, and you know, again, every 2 finishers, I will try to release some impact webbing and take some dudes out instantly, and then go back to and just rinse and repeat. Now sometimes there's situations where, you know, you're surrounded in such a way where your next move is going to get you messed up if you do not
turns out we've busted 4 illegal firearms
perform another finisher or something, you know.
Gun running. Let's see what I can do to cut down the supply.
But yeah, so as you can see, like I said, the focus builds pretty quickly.
Dang, looks like they
and
called
if
their
you
buddies.
don't miss your objective or your target there, you can keep the combo going. But yeah, like I said, I love the hands-on approach to this here. The enemies will follow you no matter where you go. If there's a method for traversing, they're going to definitely follow you.
Oh, hey, more guys.
But yeah, you know, with you know, bear in mind I'm jibber jabbering and talking too.
Socks already.
So you know, I'm not giving my complete focus to the point to be able to get this done quite as fast as I typically can, but sincerely, I've got video footage on it, and it, like I said, it takes me about 30 seconds, excuse me, slower than the most efficient methods that I showed you. But again, you know, I love the dynamic, love the cinematic.
Anyone want to surrender? No.
You know, it's just mad cool. And you know, and putting in the grind for the situation is worth it. I mean, I've played multiplayer games for a good minute, probably since Infamous. And I mean, to be honest with you, Infamous was probably my last game that I played that I was like, dude, hands down, loved it. But I mean, all the various different versions of the Infamous stuff, 1, 2, and first one, all that. But either way, though, this reminds me of that, and the enjoyability scale of things, and the enjoyment of the combat, and the dynamics you can employ, and the methods, the elements of just finesse that you can incorporate. And I'm still, you know, really working out that aspect of really fine-tuning my style, so to speak, of where I'd like to go with this.
Captain.
I mean,
Actually,
like back in the day
down.
with Sleeping Dogs, got a lot of good
finally
videos on the
reported shots
combat
fired,
from
so I've
that.
got officers inbound.
I mean, I was
Good
in it to
work.
win it, loved it. But you know, with this here, you get this benefit of being able to, you know, get an extra 1 point for health, an extra 1% for melee damage. So, you know, unlike some of the other games mentioned, you don't really get to become beefier. And you know, if your idea of Spider-Man is having the skill
When there was only one set of footprints,
and the
that's when I
restraint
led you up.
to take out the enemies in 2 to 3 hits, or even 1 hit, then you know that's your thing, and you can grind it out to get there. And I know that, you know, there'll be, hopefully, depending on how they have the new Game Plus set up with this Ultimate Difficulty, you'll be gaining experience, so you'll get to level up even further as you play it. But yeah, for me, it's, you know, I translate his governance of his power with the point that, you know, he doesn't want to kill anybody, knock your jaw off like Doc Ock did with Scorpion and you know, the Superior Spider-Man series, and that was another individual in the comics, you know, attributing just how fantastic Spider-Man's strength is. But yeah, I mean, he's one of the strongest characters in Marvel Universe. It's just that unlike certain characters where he can exert maximum effort constantly, he can do it in small bursts, but then be half dead afterwards, like a normal human being in those kind of regards. But that mortality has always been extremely appealing to me. Whereas, you know, he's though he has strength, you know, speed and agility and all that good stuff, he's got to rely on his precognitive aspects of his spidey sense. You know, and you know, his quick wit, skill, all those good things that sort of come with the motions of Spider-Man. But yeah, this this method of combat, like I said, is very enjoyable. The use of environmentals, mad cool. But yeah, like I was saying here, so, you know, leveling up my Spider-Man to this super, or rather superior Spider-Man, to me, I translate it as he's sort of learning the skill to be able to hit enemies more effectively, more efficiently, than, say, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times or something silly. Especially when you know that you're surrounded by enemies and every single last one of them have no compulsion but to kill you, you know, so... and what's funny is in this mission here it's kind of cool that you have a lot of quips that come through. You have a good amount of dialogue from the enemies as well, where they're tripping on the fact that, you know, he's using gadgets the way he is. They're like, what kind of hero electrocutes somebody, and you know, no fair, and since when did he get a sidekick? And I mean, and matter of fact, it's almost like they challenging you to, like, you know, your fisticuffs in the beginning of it with the dialogue about Fisk handing Spider-Man his ass. Like, you know, it's just embarrassing, you know. It's like, I heard back in the day Fisk used to hand Spider-Man his ass, dude. I mean, you know, and I'm telling you, like, you played on spectacular level, you know, with just 100 health, and, you know, Fisk be trying to knock your spine through your chest. It's a trip. So yeah, I can believe Fisk used to hand Spidey his ass back in the day. But yeah, so you know, definitely a rep to to circumvent. But yeah, so you know, that, like I said, is my fun thing to do, and there's some extreme finesse points that I can improve on over time, and that's what's going to be my goal with leveling past 300 to, say, 500 there. How you doing there, Willie? So yeah, it's been cool, and like I said, messing with a lot of the multiplayer games where, you know, it's a complete grind. Festival, like, you know, Warframe, I'm good on that. GTA 5s and DCLO, gosh, you know, anyway, so just to name a few, you know, I've had my experience with the point, and you know, I find this to be extremely rewarding for the time and effort put in on it. Again, it's appealing to a childhood sort of thing I had where I was Super Spider-Man for a couple of years. With the cape and all, as silly as that is. I mean, like, you know, make up your mind, bro. You want to stick to walls and fly. But either way, that was me as a kid. So, like I said, it's just really cool to be able to take on this sort of element of it in this game, as well as they've done it. I mean, I've played the other Spider-Man games, but just did not get the enjoyment out of it that I have with this. I'm sure there's things to critique on again, and I have another commentary too, actually, one in the early part of the game, my gameplay that I recorded, and another one at the end where I comment on some of the things. Just, for example, just some of the challenges to me aren't that easy. But then again, it's good to have a challenge for which you can rise to the occasion to do, and they do allow that. Where you can, with effort and some tenacity, depending on your skill set, overcome, you know, and manage the challenge. And I mean, that's my honest opinion about it. I'm kind of hard on game programmers or game developers in the manner that they present challenges nowadays. The easy win, it seems, to present a challenge for most games is to give you a handicap. And you know, I do personally deal with a handicap. You know, I've dealt with chronic pain for the last almost 20 years. But regardless, though, I'm gonna tell you right now, I have a handicap in life. I don't feel like I've been challenged, you know, or it's challenging rather. I feel like I've been challenged in a way that is not fun or enjoyable, because your environment is typically more capable than you. That's the definition of a handicap. So, you know, game designers seem to want to give you a handicap as a form of a challenge, rather than say, okay, here's Mount Everest, climb it, and you still got both hands and both arms. Nowadays, they'll go, we're going to take a leg from you, no supplies, now climb Mount Everest. And it's like, bro, I don't feel like this is very challenging. I feel challenged in a way that's extremely negative. So yeah, it's you know, I appreciate it when they can think out the situation where they do allow you the room to develop your skill set, develop yourself as a character, and still maintain your toolkit and your capability while still providing a challenge. I mean, that to me is the way video games used to be done. But they have seemed to employ that element with this, I must say, and that's a beautiful thing. Because you're not handicapped in this. Maybe a little bit when you start out with your health on spectacular
Place is
mode,
locked
but
down, Captain.
it's designed to give you more of a
Actually,
challenge,
down.
which again you can
someone
rise to the
finally
occasion
reported
of.
shots fired, so I've
And
got
it's very
officers
friendly in
inbound.
the process of
Good
doing
work.
so, because you know it's no real penalty if you have to restart at some checkpoint or whatever. Unlike a lot of these multiplayers where it's just, like I said, it's a little fine line between being jaded and being wise, and you know, yeah, I've had some bitter taste from some of my multiplayer experiences. I think I've kind of burnt myself out on it, but this is one of the first single-player games that's come out in a while that I haven't gotten burnt out on from the previous series of things like Assassin's Creed, for example. Played them all the way up to Black Flag or whatever it was, and kind of got burnt out with the routine. Love the story, love the. I mean, I watch a lot of gamers in their gameplay, you know, to satisfy, you know, my missed gaming experience. But either way, though, this is. I'm looking highly forward to the DLCs. I really do hope that, similarly to this mission here, like I said, which is the only one that allows this kind of XP, unfortunately. I do have a video on another challenge mode, one of the Taskmaster challenges, which offer a decent amount of XP within the time, but there are a lot of governing factors to just generating high amounts of XP without a fixed amount from the bonus, such as you know, distance to take out an enemy with a finisher, stealth finishers, time to accomplish. You know, there's a lot of factors, and to be honest with you, to be able to consistently bring in the kind of XP that I had stated in the video, I think it was like anywhere from 500 to 1,000 something XP in about a minute and some change. You know, it's too great, and you know, luckily the community of Spidey's out here put out videos about this location, because you know, if you wouldn't know I'll show you when I
Dang,
finish
looks
this
like
here.
they called their
Just
buddies.
looking at the map, as I stated earlier in the video, that this is a main mission as well as a side mission. It's going to continue to regard itself as a side mission well after you complete the main mission or even the main story. And like I said, because of that, it's the only thing in the game that's going to give you a guaranteed 2,500 points each time you complete it. And, you know, and most folks that I've sort of seen videos on, and a few people commenting on some of my, you know, videos, and, you know, everybody's got a pretty good consensus that once they build their skill up, they're knocking it out in about 2 minutes or so. And with the extra XP that you get from the enemies defeated, and again, if you use this here, this combat analyzer for bonus XP, you're going to get, I think, 490 something XP versus 200 or 300 XP. I can't remember what it is without it. But anyway, like I said, it adds up, and believe me, can help reduce the aspect of the grind. I misplaced my thought, unfortunately. I apologize. Trying to fight, talk at the same time. It's not, I'm not well practiced at it, but trying to get there. Gosh, what was I mentioning? I apologize if I left it off on the point, which I'm quite sure I just did. Hopefully it'll come back around to me. Hang on a second, let me grab this. Oh yes, I was going to show how this mission here it shows up as a side mission again, just a reminder that it's also to a main mission. But yeah, so like I said, gaining the XP with this here has been enjoyable because of the fact that I say the credit is really more to the programming of the AI, and the fact that regardless of your position, the AI is going to spawn in a different location. The enemies will spawn in, as well as the fact that it's completely random as to how they're going to act based on whatever you do. And I can't ever say that any two matches were completely the same. Sure, you may have some kind of set routine that you might go through to be, but you know, the variation will be there, and the dialogue is funny, and you will hear new things periodically. You know, like, I kid you not, I heard something new after probably like 80-something levels. But yeah, let me back out of this for a quick second here. And another odd thing is, since the last patch at 1.05, this mission here used to show up a little bit, you know, like you finish it and your side missions would show up, you know, or that you have highlighted. Like, I'll do the Fisk. Let's see. Yeah, see, I've highlighted that the Fisk mission should show up, but seeing that I've just completed it, it doesn't. And it'll show up in a little bit, like if you leave this area. And then the other thing that's awkward is if you were to fast travel to another location after completing this thing, this queue spot to start it won't be there, and you'll have to reload last checkpoint, which is kind of a pain. But let me start this real quick and show you what I'm talking about. In this upper right hand corner, it's going to say main mission. And it's like I said, there's nothing about the game that will tell you that that's the case. And if it wasn't for folks experimenting, trying to find out which ones were most beneficial, I never would have found out. But yeah, there it is in the upper right hand corner. It's a very faint watermark, but it says main mission, which is a trip. But yeah, it's like I said, with patch 1.06 coming out, and you know, the fact that they want to do this ultimate difficulty and this new game plus, I really do hope that they decide to open up some of the other missions for them to be replayable, just to, you know, help alleviate the monotony of the situation. You know, I did for myself, beyond just the enjoyability of the randomness of the AI, by, you know, choreographed or scripting certain little things or runs based on, you know, outfits or what have you. Having certain little themed outfits help make the grind bearable. Varying, you know, your tactics and experimenting every so often, even though you might find what's most efficient. And then practicing whatever it is that you may prefer every so often, so you don't lose, you know, your whatever skill set that you have. And then also too, you know, if you broadcasting or whatever, the Joe Jonah archives are absolutely hilarious. Most of them are absolutely hilarious to record, you know, or play whatever. And you know, you have other recordings and newspaper clippings and things that, you know, you can show, you know, to help, you know, present like an intermission or whatever.
From my first real date with MJ.
But you know, yeah, outside of that, let me just make sure I haven't forgotten any particular point I wanted to bring up. But it doesn't seem so. But yeah, I'll carry on with the point of the you know, my hopes and aspirations essentially for, you know, the upcoming material. I do hope that they bring out a different color of this outfit here, preferably black, you know, with this same texture of material and you know, and design, because it's exquisite. I'm sorry, it may be a big word, but I'm just saying it's I mean, hands down, it's timeless. I mean, to me, you know, it's and then with the modern edges of aesthetics that they give it, like the seam lines, you know, to make the outfit look less leotardy and more athletic, or, you know, and more Olympian actually. The lack of the fact that he's not wearing boot socks or sock boots, and you know, I mean, it's just so many little sexy elements about this thing, you know, about the suit. They really did bring the sexy back for Spider-Man here with his basic outfit. You know, emphasizing also to the machismo of him, and the fact that he's not wearing something metal or steel or encased in anything, because of, you know, what he is and how he's able to do what he does. Not to knock the other outfits, I like them, don't get me wrong, but, you know, pray that they they bring us a black version of this without some kind of apologize, obnoxious loud color. That's just me. I'm not big on that. I'm more of a simple kind of guy. That's just me. Don't get me wrong. I mean, folks that sport it, I even like it, you know, but not necessarily projecting myself towards the character. You know, I see a lot of folks on various different games do a lot of things that I wouldn't necessarily do, but I'm like, yo, you're rocking that. Rock it. You look great. Do that thing. But again, for me and my hopes and what have you, I do hope that they bring out some other colors as well as other missions that provide bonus XP besides this. And I'll switch back over here real quick to this more expedient method. But and also too, I'd say if they could not put extra places where you can get mission type XP like this on a grind purpose, I'd say it'd even be beneficial for them marketability wise, because people like me who want to broadcast, you know, we'll have other places to provide, you know, different environments, you know, so just, you know, so things aren't looking so stale, you know, after 100 some odd videos or something, depending on how much grinding you do.
Can't believe Spider-Man finally.
Who the hell?
Did you hear? That was funny. It's like, who the hell? Like I said, you know, if you mess up or do something accidental, I mean, it will completely change the variables of the situation. But yeah, like I said, marketability and oh man, wait, I forgot. We're switching. Of the game and just providing variation will be supremely helpful. I would think in the long run of the game, and I've got a feeling that, you know, with some of the subtle hints of like GTA 5 characters in the game, or rather references to them by name and look, that, you know, this is something that I think that they're going to try to work with you for some time with DLCs. I mean, the room for growth is
illegal
is
firearms
off the
dealers within a
chain.
3-block radius
I
of
mean,
that
they
site.
have to me the basic aspects
see what I
to
can do to cut
give
down
you a
this
Spider
body.
Woman, to give you
Dang, looks like they called their
other
buddy.
versions of Spider Man through Miles. I mean, you know, I mean, the environment's ripe for expansion. It's just that simple. And I mean, you know, so if they take their time and bring out some part 2 5 years later from now, I think they have enough assets to produce material that will keep us well entertained for years to come. At least me, anyway. You know, so yeah, you know, DLCs, hope that they, you know, don't limit themselves to their potential in that aspect. As well as, you know, the sexy outfits. I hope that they do bring you a black version of this. I've noticed that a lot of games nowadays, they like to give you an artistic imposition in your limited freedoms of choices that they make it seem like you have. You know, what I mean by that is, you know, you might have some outfit that gives you some changes, or some options, but for some odd reason, all your options aren't quite as smooth or swift or, you know, fashionable in some way, shape, or form as the rest. Like, case in point, I mean, even right now, I mean, with the outfits in the game, in my opinion, aesthetically, and then also to drawing on the classic elements of the iconic recognition of Spider-Man, this outfit is the bomb diggity bay. I mean, you know, because, you know, when you look at Spider-Man initially, you want to see that webbing look on the costume. You want to see the red, you want to see the white. Initially, as far as the, you know, original Spider-Man, you know, grant you, I'm a sexy and black kind of guy, but, you know, still though, even with that, you know, having, you know, these basic elements of Spider-Man are important, like, you know, webbing trim and the spider logo and the eyes shaped a particular way. Because if not, you know, you start getting outfits that look like Deadpool or something else, you know, or some other character. And I mean, perhaps they're purposely doing that because Spider-Man grows and adapts generally, you know, with his enemies. Like, you know, the Doc Ock suit, for example, you know, looks a lot like, you know, it'd be something Dr. Octopus would made if he was Peter Parker, hint hint. Superior. But yeah, it's interesting and but cool. But again, you know, you lose some of the machismo by not having some of the muscle definition come through and the fabric type of material. And, you know, and like I said, the trim lines and the seam lines on this are I can't think of any artistically anything I'd want to adjust with it. And I mean, I'm not, you know, some kind of world famous artist or know-it-all as far as critiquing things, but within my taste, it's just great. But yeah, you have other outfits, like I said, that are in the game, which, you know, depending on your taste and your thing, it might be it. So rock it. But yeah, it's not necessarily my bag. And, you know, or you have cool things, but then it's something off about the situation where you're going, why did they do that? That's not the right color that was in the... Okay. But, you know, either way, it's still cool. I've enjoyed them. Don't get me wrong. But as far as, like, what you want to be your mainstay, to me, it's like, you know, this would have to be it. But, you know, this is the poster boy outfit here, a poster child outfit, so to speak, for Spider-Man. So, in my opinion, you know, as a marketable company, you might want to market this or make sure that it tends to be the most marketable outfit for some time. But I hope that they can concede in the understanding that, yeah, it's originally, I'd say, well done to preserve the iconic original elements of Spider-Man with its coloration. Give us the sexy and black, you know what I'm saying? And you know, let's keep the spider on something sexy, you know. But yeah, as far as the emblem on the front and back, and of course you have, like, you know, the what is this here? The dark suit that, you know, Catwoman, spoilers here, you know, presents to you. but this comes from, you know, your Madam Web, you know, lore of things in the comics. And excuse me, belching here. Excuse me. And you know, and again here, if you pay attention to the lines on the outfit and the seam lines, it's more leotardy, more, you know, wetsuity kind of look, I Spy type thing, which is cool. Looks great, you know. Got some little claws on and everything, kind of like reminiscent of their, you know, 2099 stuff. But you know, it doesn't have the lines that this has, you know, and I mean, it's exquisite in my opinion. And you know, they kind of give it to you a little bit here with this negative, version, but you know, you've got a fluorescent light bulb running through your whole thing there, so that's not really cutting it for my taste. But it's cool, you know. I'll mess with it every so often, but you know, I'm looking for that thing to sort of personalize myself beyond this here, which again is still an awesome mainstay. But yeah, I'd say like my second pick is probably the noir joint at the moment, for what we have. You know, minus the gun thing, but you know, I kind of created a little backstory with that to be like, you know, he has the power to kill you, but he doesn't. Quite obvious. But yeah, so you know, I'd say that probably sums up the majority of, so to say, my hopes and aspirations. Besides, like I said earlier, praying that they don't do something weird or bizarrely multiplayer-ish and handicap you with the new difficulty mode of Ultimate, along with the new Game Plus. You know, like, you know, they might allow you to start over, but yet, you know, you've got all your costumes and all your accomplishments and what have you, but they're going to start you out at 200 health, or you know, or you know, or start you out even worse, the way they start you out with the other modes is just 100 health. Like, you know, I'm sure I'd like to hope that I could rise to the occasion and handle the challenge, but you know, at the same time, you know, after giving it the effort and time that I have with you know, 2 playthroughs on spectacular difficulty, one just for my own sake and then one to record, and I recorded each individual mission separately.
Welcome to the party. House rules. Leave your shoes at
You
the
know,
door. Unless you're not wearing socks, in which case, socks already. You
know, would love to have the full benefit of being able to carry over all of my gameplay, including, you know, my superior health gains and superior melee games. I mean, that, you know, I hope they allow us as the consumers of the single player game to be the decider of what kind of Spider-Man we want to enjoy, without handicapping the situation, you know. So, you know, but yet increasing the elements of difficulty that are already present in the game. But yeah, with that said, I mean, I'll be honest with you, can't think of much else to really comment on outside of the fact that I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I will be adding out another 100 levels of Imperial mode. But I'll bring out some videos and things, but they'll be a little bit different than the previous ones. What I'm sort of planning to do to kind of help the monotony out is to go ahead and you know, really try to hone my own perspective, or rather my own tactic in the game, as far as, you know, all the various different nuances you can interplay with the melee combat. I mean, for example, I mean, you know, you can, like I said, it's real simple. You know, square, square, square is your combo. I think it's 4 squares, and in between that square, you can interrupt it with X, triangle, or circle to do a host of things, depending on your context of your situation, as well as notions of finishers, you know, depending on your thing, gadgets, employment. I mean, so like I said, environmentals thrown in. There's a lot of elements that you know, you can really work with to have an awesome show of your own Spider-Man, and that's what I want to try to work on. You know, there'll probably be points where maybe off camera, or maybe a couple every so often, where I'll give a traditional method or more expedient method. But I'm hoping that, you know, with me having this 300 extra 100% melee above what you will earn after completing the storyline and everything, you know, taking out enemies won't take so long, and, you know, to build focus or whatever, and I can even cut down my time of an extra 30 seconds even further as I begin to continue to gain further levels of being superior Spider-Man, or a superior Spider-Man rather, not superior, a superior. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting journey. Hopefully I'll probably do, you know, a few, probably only feature, you know, maybe more of my select few outfits that I like that's, like I said, my favorites here. With this here is my favorite at the moment. Second would probably be Noir. Third would probably be this dark suit, or, you know, I don't know, the Anti-Ock and the dark suit are kind of like, you know, hand in hand there. This is not a bad one, although it's kind of odd cut to the front chest of the shirt. Kind of looks like he's got a pair of breasts or something like that there. But either way, though, I know it's just they're trying to show off his pectorals. It's just the cut of things is a little awkward, but it's all good. And but like I said, it's still one of my favorites. And you know, I like the 2099 joints, and that's nice. Even though that's not the same color that was in the comics as far as lighting, that's cool too. And this kind of grows on you. But yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, I've enjoyed them all actually. But you know, I'll probably just feature just a select few. I'll probably narrow down that list of what I showed even further. And but yeah, thank you for definitely enjoying, hopefully, the broadcast and commentary. And hope to bring another commentary after another 100 levels of XP. You know, hopefully there's something new to comment on, or it might just be a little bit of a shorter comment to be like, yeah, same thing, different day. But it's been fun, and thanks again.